king to a prince, the royal code.
Yes, sir.
Hope y'all doing good, because we are. What's up?
How y'all doing?
Good. How are y'all?
Been a minute.
I'm real good.
Yo, I seen that the 49ers won last week. I know you was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and hopefully we will win against Seattle. I mean, that's going to be a tough one when that does happen. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. So
We'll see.
Yo, but I don't know if y'all seen the Drewski skit, the mega church, where he was like making fun of the he was kind of like making fun of like the mega church pastor. Yo, you said Malcolm Todd. Yo, that's crazy.
No, Mike Todd, yes.
Mike Todd, yeah, no, that's hilarious.
You're off completely.
I didn't see his video, but I saw like one of the pastor's response, and then he was cursing in church, and because I was wondering like why they had, how when they talk about somebody, they'll have the screenshot of that person. So they were talking about Drewski, but I didn't know what happened. And then he called him like a fat bitch or something. It was crazy. Oh, yeah, but that's what the pastor said in church. And that's what got me bugging, because I was like, yo, what happened? I'm like, why is a pastor cursing like this in church? You know what I mean? So,
yo, nah, the skit itself was crazy. I thought it's one of the best skits he'd done since like the NASCAR. I don't know if y'all seen that. He was like,
yeah, I seen that one. That one was bug. Or what about the one he did with the college frats when he was just the only black dude with all the white dudes? And the only dudes that was allowed was the running back or the football team, but they was like, yo, how do you get your braids like that?
No, guys. Nah, he's made a few skits that really be hitting. Like, I feel like Drewski is like kind of blending that old school comedy where it's like a lot of truths back into it. So
bringing the Vine type style comedy back, man.
Yeah, that's why I think he's really funny too. Cause like he can bring some jokes to like some serious topics. Cause like what's be going on in those mega churches is actually pretty crazy. A lot of people haven't been talking about it.
Yeah, nowadays people take things like way too lightly. Like,
literally.
Way too sensitive. Like you can't say shit that you used to say back then because you're canceled. But people can't take a joke no more. Like you gotta know your audience. Man, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. It's
exactly.
a joke. Take it how you want it. That's not how you as a person called a fucking joke. Take a joke or can't. You can't. That's your problem, not mine.
Yeah, exactly. People too uptight, man, and then too sensitive. So
that's why I don't even really.
I gotta watch it to see. Like I said, now I'm curious because I saw the response. So, when you see a response to something, you're like, yo, what the hell happened to even get to this point? And then to actually see a pastor in a church, and it seemed like it was one of those mega churches.
Oh, yeah.
So it seemed like this pastor is somebody people take serious. So I don't know if he was imitating that particular pastor or just all pastors. Oh, okay. So who is this pastor? Who is he?
Mike Todd. He's like a younger pastor. He had like a whole Dior suit on, like these CVS diamond chains, like 3 of them. Christian Louboutin red on. He was like, you guys ask why I got Christian Louboutins on. He says, because I'm Christian. And why are they red? Because I walk in the blood of Jesus.
Oh, he got the building fund money. Oh, okay. That's where the building fund money went to.
Yeah. I got it. I'm like, at this point, they're paying for performance. They ain't preaching nothing. They ain't preaching no gospels. It's the performance. And the money it goes
it's
to
so. Church has become now more of a monopoly now. You know what I mean? Like how you can, get money or any type of monetary gain. Like I saw one where some lady, I guess they asked the congregation to donate no less than $2,000, and I guess the lady only had like $1,200. So she donated her $1,200, and then they called her out right in the middle of church and service. And what was crazy about that? And the lady said, because it was all on the news. She said that was all I had. But what the way they tried to justify it is, well, we let y'all know weeks in advance it was going to be no less than 2,000. And I'm like, it sounds like I could see if this was a trip that you were all putting together and you needed 2,000 and you only had 1,200. Well, it's like, nah, I'm sorry, you $800 short. You can't go on that trip. Maybe next time. But here's your money, because obviously you do need it if that's all you had. But to call a person out that's trying to donate, $1,200, that might have been that person had in their account.
Mm-hmm.
So, they called her out and it was just bad. And then the people started calling the church out, about that. And then they ended up losing, a lot of members of that, I guess you could say, that congregation. So,
like, where does the money even go? Where does it go? Like, church repair, like, where does it go?
I was just about to say, they avoid taxes being a church.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all seen it. It was like maybe a couple months ago, like towards the end of 2025, there was this lady that was calling churches and different like religious buildings to see if they would give her like formula for her daughter. Like she wasn't asking for money. She wasn't asking for like anything else. It was strictly just the formula. And it was like 50 plus churches saying no. Like, I'm pretty sure she called a bunch of these mega churches. It was people making like whole spreadsheets of the churches that said no. It was just like,
it's crazy. It was insane. Like, helping the community, open it to all, but a lot of churches, like, I noticed because I was trying to join a few churches in the community, they got wait lists. It's crazy. Like, they only accept like certain people. Like, churches have demographics, like, that.
Yeah.
It's actually insane. Like, a lot of these food banks and stuff, only like a number of churches run them, and they don't like it's actually crazy. Like, where does the tithing, where does it go? What does it do? What is it? It's not like you like the church start the cooking and stuff. That's by the members. Like, after Sunday service, blah blah blah, they cook and stuff. That's members. But what about the money? What does it do?
Exactly.
Congregation, the past. That's where it go to.
Yeah.
No shade, no tea on the churches. We love y'all. We love
exactly, because I mean it's important. Like prayer, church, God, religion. That's important, but you also do look at it from a sense of like we're not fools, so we know, like what's going on, and then you also see when you start looking at churches, like there's some churches now that have ATMs in there. It's like, okay, what am I learning here? Because, and then I start to go into what is the pastor or the priest, whoever, what are they speaking now? Because if your only intention is greed, that's basically a sin. So why should I listen to you in the first place? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I haven't been to church in a while. I can admit that, but I pray every day. I'm spiritual. I'm not a holy roller. I do go to church. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. And, I grew up in church, but nowadays, even a lot of these pastors and priests, they're false prophets, man. So you have to read between the lines. You got to separate the truth from the bullshit, because in the absence of truth, the bullshit is going to evolve, so.
That's when it's like, when I went to go visit, my fault. Yeah. When I went to go visit Paris, we went to, I think it was Notre Dame, this church. And I'm talking about, this church was literally like mansion, like one of the biggest mansion type sizes buildings you would ever seen in your life. And then
your grandmother and your aunts, they visit that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it might have been even the cathedral, but you go a few blocks down, it's like homeless people all out on the streets, like can't afford.
It's like the White House. The White House is the same way.
You think I just go to say, so like for all of these buildings that we have, like, how many abandoned buildings there are like in America, let alone like forget the rest of the world. I'm pretty sure like I seen there was like a crazy like fact about there's over like 1,000 castles in Europe alone. So it's like, I'm pretty sure there's like a crazy number of abandoned buildings here in America that kind of be built up to kind of just at least be like a homeless shelter at the bare minimum, kind of give that people that option. And the biggest thing is people that like, they don't want to have these communities with homeless shelters in it because they feel like that kind of like deteriorates the community. But what do you think having homeless people out on the street does?
to
And
them.
you want to know something? Besides a vast majority of homeless people being addicts, a big chunk of that are veterans. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you think about it, what's the benefit of serving? Of course, love your country and be ready to fight for yourself, your family, and your country if your country is fighting for you. I'm not going to say go out there and go Rambo and you're not getting it reciprocated. But when those people decide to sign up and join the military, that's their purpose, to serve their country. So they're doing that. And then when they come back, because of their addiction or whatever may have happened to them mentally, you just leave them out there in the streets, and then where do they go? That's why they gravitate towards places like the White House, or like you said, in where was it, Paris or England, right down the block, what you see a vast majority of homelessness. You know what I mean? And you don't know who those people are. So
Yeah. And it's crazy because a lot of the times, like, the addiction might not have even been the reason that they became homeless, but it could have just been something that got picked up along the way, because, like, people forget that homelessness doesn't just happen overnight.
Exactly.
And that's why a lot of people, that's like just changing your perception on how quickly the vast majority of people can become homeless. Like, everybody living check to check. One bad day, one bad financial decision, one, $1,000 emergency could be the difference between you and homelessness. And a lot of people don't really put that into perspective because they have the value and benefit of having a supportive, like, family, or having, just somebody to depend on. A lot of these people don't have that as well. So it's like you said, that's why they'll gravitate to these places that are, like, seen as, like, maybe like a holy building or something that's, meaningful to them, like the White House or something like that. So it's just crazy to see. And then, like, how people kind of had, like, this disdain on them. It's like automatically you'll just call somebody a bum because they homeless or living out on the street.
exactly, yeah.
This could have been, like, somebody that was, like, on the verge of, like, creating something or being somebody important to, in politics. And, like, so it's like we never know, like, what could have happened if, maybe they just had that support system, had that help from the government.
They just had one bad day, like literally, like, I didn't tell you this, but literally 3 days before Christmas. So I told you, Corey, 3 days before Christmas, I lost my job. I was an HR manager, lost my job. I was making good money, and I just been asked out. If I didn't have the support from my mom, my family, I would be in that predicament. I would be out on the street. Like, I would be asked out. And it's literally the matter of having a support system. Like, your support system is everything. But then it's some people who literally have no contact with their family for the sake of their mental health, and then people just go haywire. Like, they just find they would rather be out on the street than be in a toxic situation with their family. Like, it's literally, like, just a matter of people separating themselves from a negative environment. Like, it gets that real. People putting themselves first. And if that means they're out on the street, a lot of people don't even have no addiction problems. A lot of people just would rather choose their peace. And if that's what it is.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. Yeah.
That's their peace. And that's what it's got to be, unfortunately. And that's a bum. They don't have access to showers and access to water, but shit, that's their peace. Rather than getting screamed at by this person, accused. Shit, fuck it. Go live under the bridge. Do what you got to do. Gather your bearings. But then if you notice, a lot of other homeless people who are addicts will refuse to go to the shelter because they want to live in a cycle. They don't want to get help. Or, in this situation, shelters are overcrowded. Like Amari.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an ongoing cycle. There's plenty of buildings that they could create shelters in, but there's you got to have people have to have a want to want to help. We don't have enough people who want to help.
Who want to help. And that's true. And you made a point that's true, Chloe, when you said that a lot of people don't even want to help themselves, because that's where it does start. I know you have a big chunk of people that there is some people that want to get help, but they just can't kick it, whether it's a habit or whatever it is. But then there is people that they like and rather be not caught up in the system of whatever it is. And, you can get high and just live a life where they feel that they're at peace. That's what they're going to do,
And that's them. That's them. Who are we to judge?
It's growing. It's growing because here in Syracuse, and I know you see it, Chloe, Amari, when I lived in the city, and I know you see homeless, you see addicts, but it's not as in the forefront because the city is so big. So they just blend in with everybody else.
Yeah.
But here in Syracuse, and Amari, you've lived there, spent time here, so the homelessness, it seems so much larger here in a smaller city because every corner, every eye view, you see somebody either homeless and is young. They're either alcohol, they're on drugs. It's something that, and they're young. I'm talking about from 17 to like 26, 27. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy because that has shifted because it wasn't like that when I was that age, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want to get the help.
And y'all say like, just to get into something else, y'all say like a lot of people don't really want to offer that help. And how do y'all feel about the ethics? Or let me phrase this better. Do y'all feel like you can be a billionaire and still be ethical or moral?
No.
How do you feel that?
A billionaire? No.
A billionaire and still be ethical and moral? It depends on, I guess, what you're into. Like, are you into more of trying to build up and help, or like, I guess I would think first, how did you acquire this billion? You know what I mean?
And this was the argument that I was having with the person that kind of like posed this question to me. It was like, I guess it would depend on what field you're in, because just using him as an example, I don't know this person. I don't know his ins and outs, morals, ethics, whatever. But LeBron James, he's a billionaire. It's safe. I'm using that word loosely. It's safe to assume that he acquired his billions ethically due to his talent, due to his hard work, due to just him being business savvy. But it's just the thought process of actually getting to $1 billion. There's someone that had to get underpaid. There's someone that had to get mistreated in that.
Yeah.
And then
she made the point. Let me piggyback off you real quick and I'll let you finish. Chloe, when she said no, she did, because you used a great example, LeBron James. Now I'm going to use an example. I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Let's look at Diddy. You're right. How did he acquire his billions? A lot of people got stepped on.
exactly.
So when you look at it like that, she is right. And you know what I mean? It's a what and what in that situation, because to get that money, you know you're going to step on a lot of people to get up there, especially if it's something in that type of field. You know what I mean? But when you look at somebody like LeBron James, it could have come over his talent, you know, and of course the endorsements and everything else that comes along with that. So
it's like, if you wanted to be an ethical billionaire, that those two shouldn't even go in the same sentence. It's
exactly.
ethical, why would you have $1 billion fucking dollars?
Yeah.
That's what
and not giving it out and not doing something to, you know what I mean, to have an impact. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong. Like, shit, I would love to have $1 billion, but I know what I would do. Like us, this thing would be even bigger. But everything else that's wanted to do it, or I could help, of course, that's something that I would do. So yeah, that is true.
The thing is, a lot of billionaires' mindsets, their thing is, oh, I don't want to foot the bill for a situation I didn't create. What the fucking problem is, help people, help someone.
Exactly.
And if they do want to help, they create a charity with their name on it. Fuck the name. Just do it anonymously. The whole point of charity is to donate anonymously. Create it in somebody else's name or somebody who was sick or whatever. But a lot of billionaires want to be known, and then boom, they still profit from a charity like GoFundMe. They take profits from somebody's situation. What is the point? Like, GoFundMe is $1 billion organization. How, if that's a charity? People who are dying of cancer, who need help, who need their bills paid, people who lost tragically. Like, y'all, how is GoFundMe, a charitable website, making a profit off of sick people? That's fucked up.
Yeah. And they profit off of people's pain too. That's not, like, you look at how many GoFundMes get set up for people that just kill innocent people, and it's like, where's the ethicalness in that? You know what I mean? Like, where? And it's not. But at the same time, it's their right to do. And a platform like GoFundMe, they're not looking at it like that, because they're going to look at the legality. Well, by right, they do have this. We're just a platform. We don't know these people individually. And it's true, because you got millions of people that are setting up GoFundMe, so you don't know everybody. But at the same time, all guidelines, they look at the guidelines all across the board, no matter what it is, you know, like, and that's the sad part of it, you know.
It's messed up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that an ethical billionaire can, really exist just due to the time and effort it takes to become a billionaire. It takes much more than just having $1 billion. I think there's a lot more that just goes into it. And like you're saying, like if you're not outputting something to actually be beneficial to Earth itself, like I don't really see there's always something that you can improve on in that sense.
Exactly. And if you're not, then you're doing basically you continuing on with the bullshit. So, because
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What you was gonna say?
Like millionaires, like that's still a lot of fucking money. But it would take you, I saw this video on TikTok, I think like 100 years or 200 years for a millionaire to become a billionaire. That's insanity. Mm-hmm. I'm bad at math. Don't get me wrong. And my memory shit, so I'm probably wrong. But it would take like a lot of fucking years for a millionaire to become a billionaire. Mm-hmm. That's a difference. That's insane. Still, $1 million is a lot of fucking money. Millionaires should still be helping out. But that's why the rich stay richer, is because they keep all the money to themselves. What are you doing with the $1 billion? What are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? Like if I was a billionaire, you would see me. There would be literally if the billionaires gave like money to all the homelessness would be solved. Homelessness would literally be solved. Like they could solve homelessness like that.
Yeah.
And still have
too.
money.
You said what?
Like, that's really my thinking too. Is like how homelessness, at least for a small population, let's just say children, at the very least, like how is this not solved in just a matter of finding a place that's you can building this shelter, funding this shelter. It's like it doesn't take billions of dollars to do that. It barely even takes millions of dollars. Like I think it takes about less than $5,000 to feed a child, like a child that's not homeless. So if it does that, I'm pretty sure the kids that weren't really eating anything for a day will just enjoy the 2 to 3 meals that they're supposed to be getting just existing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think would change if billionaires or millionaires, that top 1%, was taxed a bit differently. I was actually seeing something about that today, because I think there was a law passed in one of the southern states. It's always one of those southern states that they're trying to basically tax OnlyFans creators or adult fan creators, tax them, and basically it was just like a larger percentage and make them pay more taxes. And the argument that some of the creators are having is that why aren't you taxing these billion-dollar corporations? And then there was also a stat that was like about 32,000 out of like the billion businesses that are out there are profiting over $1 billion. So that's trillions of dollars just being moved around throughout, and it's like I don't think anybody really.
You basically answered it too, because the OnlyFans, or let's just say content creators, their argument is like, well, why aren't you taxing these billion-dollar corporations? Well, the people that are supposed to be taxing them are probably getting hit off with something. So when you're getting hit off with something, the only way to make it look legal is to go after somebody. So when you look at people like OnlyFans, when you have a person like we talked about, that one girl who turned 18 and then she made like $22 million in less than 48 or 24 hours or something like that. Mm-hmm. When you're making that type of money, they're looking at it like, okay, well, I know they're not going to break me off any of that 22 million, but I know this corporation who I would charge triple that amount in taxing, they're going to give me what I want. So I have to, by law, I have to go after somebody. So who do you go after? You go after them. And then they're going to look at it like, well, if you've made 22 million doing like that in the day, you shouldn't have a problem with paying this amount for taxes, because you're going to turn around and make that same money the next day. You know what I mean? So somebody has to pay and somebody has to get paid, you know.
Because even just like moving away from like OnlyFans, even like creators like on Twitch and things like that, like Kai Cenat, like they not getting taxed the same as these other businesses, but
of course not.
Somebody can pull up, he does one, because he hasn't been streaming for like, I think like a month or something now. He pulled back up on stream. He can make $1 million in one stream, untaxed. Like, so I definitely think that there should be regulations on that, but I think it should, of course, start at the top, because a lot of these businesses, for one, aren't paying their employees a livable wage. So off that alone, you know, you should be allocating funds to do that at the bare minimum. And two, these businesses will never be in place without the consumers. Businesses cannot exist without a consumer. And if us as a consumer don't have the means to keep you running as a profitable business, you're going to have things like result in looting. You're going to have things result in businesses closing. And that's like why those things tend to happen during times of a recession, during times of, you know, political differences happening out throughout the media, because it's easy to take advantages of businesses that way. So it's just a crazy thing to see when getting into my next thing, like who would y'all consider right now like the Martin Luther King of today's generation? Doesn't even have to be a black person. It's somebody that you can kind of like look to as like a human rights activist, somebody speaking up to.
I would say E.T. the hip hop. He's a motivational speaker, and you could look him up on YouTube. I know his name is E.T. It's Eric Thomas, but he calls himself something. But he is, for me, not. I compare him to Martin Luther King, not in the sense of movement, but the motivation. That's what I would say, because he makes you look at not only yourself but your surroundings, and he helps you to realize that don't become a victim of your surroundings, in a sense of, you know, just because you're poor doesn't mean you have to think poor, live poor, or you can't get out of that situation, you know, because poor is just a mentality. That's really what it is. You know, it's something that you can get yourself out of. Struggle, we all struggle, you know, rich people struggle. But for me, that's, in my opinion, who I think I would compare in that sense. Like I said, not the movement necessarily, because, you know, Martin Luther King it was a different time with that type of movement. You know, even with Malcolm X, we may never see a movement like it was with those guys back then, like the Black Panther Party, because they really were fighting up against something that we're starting to see a little bit now, but it was totally different, because back then minorities we were unarmed against a group of people that were armed, so we couldn't fight that same fight. Whereas nowadays, minorities are the majority, and we're fighting back in a sense that it can really get ugly if we take it there, you know. So that's why I don't see those type of movements really happening. I'm sure they are out there, but I really don't see that type of movement like how it was when Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were out there. It was, you know, it was like a real different time.
Yeah.
But go ahead, who y'all?
What's Amari? You go. I'm trying to look up this group.
I think that, like, I agree with you that I don't think that there can be someone to kind of, you know, essentially play that role that these civil rights activists played. Honestly, due to the times that we're in now, we're obviously in a little bit more integrated, you know, peaceful, in a sense. You know, it's not.
Well,
like,
in the last, I would say, I'm sorry, and we all do know one, Barack Obama. He did have that type of impact. You know what I mean? So I could, you know, I don't want to not rule him out in that sense. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, though.
No. Because I definitely do agree. He was somebody that kind of can be looked at as that pillar. I think social media and just like I said, like I think I mentioned this before, y'all, just like having too much awareness about what's going on. I think that kind of allows there to not be a space for that. Like you can't have this one person kind of represent a group of people, because there was a time that Martin Luther King or even Malcolm X, or I'm pretty sure even Jesse Jackson at one point, there was times that Black people as a whole kind of looked to them as our leaders, as our pillars. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, we did. Yep,
yeah.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like, I don't think that we have that now. And I won't put the blame on social media, because social media could be something to help that. But I think just because there's too many people trying to, do that and be that one person, instead of coming together and like actually having a leader.
Of course, because it's all about that self gratification and actually saying, "Oh, now you can put me with the martyrs," and it's like, no, it can't be that way when you have, like you said, it's just like the crab in a barrel mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to work together when everybody's trying to outshine each other. So that's what it is. That's what it is.
I think I would say like Kamala Harris. Like she was for the
Okay.
people immediately.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
think I would say like a few other people like Greta Thunberg. Like she was a climate activist. Like she was captured in Israel, and she was there for days, and she didn't give a shit what she said. She, as soon as she was getting taken out, she was still preaching what she's like immediately for the people. And then the global flotilla. I don't know if y'all seen that. The people that were on the boat bringing aid and food. And yes, this is global, but it's still these people are fighting for what's right, and that's all about what MLK was about: fighting for what's right for the majority of the people. And that's what it's about. Just fighting for what's right. Not even, well, yes, it was for segregation and everything like that, but fighting literally for what's right and what's humane.
Yeah, that was definitely a good show. This is the Royal Code, a king to the prince. I'm Corey.
I'm Amari.
Chloe.
And we are out.
See y'all next time.
Definitely.
Peace.
Fuck it, kill my enemy, dribble a beat. Fuck it, this celestial, I should never seen.